a new best defense in Playbook that's taking over right now in Madden 26, and if you don't master it now, your defense is going to fall behind the current meta. Luckily for you, in this video, I'm breaking down the complete Cowboys defensive ebook with the best coverages, glitch blitzes, and Redzone defense that's going to have you locking down every game. You're not going to miss out on any of the plays I break down today, so make sure you watch all the way to the end, and let's jump right into it. The first thing that you need to master on defense here from any Playbook in Madden 26 is actually using the best defensive settings. Let me show you the best ones to use with this Cowboys defense. Alright, so when you press the right stick in on defense, we're going to come into our coaching adjustments here. We're going to go through the entire breakdown with what defensive plays that you need to be using. Alright, you want to make sure that you have auto flip defensive play turned on. Alright, this is going to make sure that your guys line up on the right side. Your slot corner lines up on the same side as slot receiver. When you turn this off, you now have the ability to press the right trigger and flip your play, which can be good for you for more control, but if you guess wrong from a nickel defense, it's going to screw up your whole alignment. So I would recommend that there's a couple blitzes maybe in the ebook that I have that like where you would turn it off, but for the most part, like 95% of plays, you want to have that on. Cornerback matchups, again, make sure this is on balance and defensive motion response is on disabled. The reason you want to do this is too many of you guys turn it on to buy speed, buy height, buy route running when you're in zone coverage, and this can happen to your defense where it will totally crisscross and misalign because they're in zone coverage, but they're trying to do exactly what you told them, right? Align with these guys by speed or by height or by route running. And so the reality is that now this is a simulation. Your defense will come out like this, right? Especially when the offense no huddles, they'll come back to the line of scrimmage all messed up like this, and then you just give up these easy passes out here on the sideline because your guys are trying to like realign. They're going to be playing their zones from across the field, which is obviously going to mess up your defense. Also, defensive motion response not being on disabled, so being on the default when the offense like motions, well now a guy like, for example, maybe this linebacker would follow this man all the way across the field out here because he's trying to motion, and again he's playing a mid-read from across the field now, which is going to be really bad for your defense because right here he should be in the middle, but now he's just not, and so that just gives us an easy score right there. So those first three settings, they're probably the three most important settings for you on defense because they actually control where your players are going to come out and where they're going to be aligned to. So again, I would always recommend that you have those, on for the auto flip, cornerback matchups on balance, and then defensive motion response on disabled. Your option key, your RPO keys, these aren't too important unless you're playing against someone who's throwing a lot of RPOs or calling a lot of option plays. But your RPO pass key, you want to make sure this is on conservative. This is going to help you defend RPOs better as far as the pass goes, and then you can defend the RPO run with your user by looping around and shooting gaps. But then you want to make sure that you have your zone drop curl flats on 5 for your zone drops, and then default flats, default hooks, safety depth, and close width on pinch like this, unless you're playing against like really fast receivers or you're a switch stick heavy player. I would say most of the time I actually just use default safety depth because what happens is when you walk these guys too close to the line of scrimmage, and then you try to switch stick onto them, or try to switch stick in general, you're going to get switch stick onto the safeties all the time because they're almost like linebackers. That's how close they are. So I just like to normally just leave it on default, and then so that now when I'm switch sticking, I'm only really getting switched onto my linebackers, and if I need to get switched onto my safeties, I can do that, with more control. So I just, would prefer to have my safety depth and close because also what you understand is if you just shade your coverage over the top, now your hooks drop back, and so they're going to be able to do a much better job of sitting in that seam area and breaking that pass up. So it's not like you really even need your safeties to be close to the line of scrimmage anyway to help you defend the seam. So really those are the best coaching adjustments to use. Quick recap here, the first three are going to be all about alignment, on, balance, disabled. Then you want to scroll down to your RPO pass key. Make sure this is on conservative so that you can defend the RPO pass really well and then stop the run with your user. And then you want to make sure that you have your flats on default, curl flats on 5, hooks on default. Now you can change your zone drops all throughout the game, but I would start the game in this so that I can defend the underneath pass really well. And then your safeties, you want to make sure that these are on default just so that, you're not getting beat, over the top, like the guys run by you, but then you can also just move your hooks to 10 yards as well if you're really struggling to defend the seam, or leave them on default because they dropped to default, they dropped to 10 yards by default. But those are the best zone drops and coaching adjustments you need to be using. All right, now that you have the foundation, the correct settings on, now let's talk about a glitch blitz, because you're going to need to be able to get the quarterback on the ground in a hurry to stop these high-powered passing attacks. Let me show you the best one here from this Cowboys defense. All right, so we're going to come here into nickel. We're going to come into double mug. This is the best defense here in Madden 26 right now. Nickel double mug, not 2-4 double mug or 3-3 double mug. We want to be a nickel double mug, which is why, the Cowboys have the best defense, here in this game. But like I said, our play here is going to be nickel dog 3 buzz. All right, and so this is how you're going to set it up. It's very easy to run, actually, this blitz. What you're going to do is just shade your coverage underneath so that now you have hard flats in the field, default hard flats. You have your zone drop flats on default, and so then when you shade underneath, right, they just have default hard flats. But all you're going to do with this blitz is immediately press D-pad up. So we're going to take the snap for the offense, immediately press D-pad up, and now you're going to see how your slot corner is going to walk in free almost every single time, right? Sometimes he might get chipped up, especially if they're in a bunch formation, but it's like you're able to see right here where he actually does get chipped a little bit, but he still comes in clean, because essentially you have your defensive ends, Clowney, and then this guy over here, number 41, they're dropping out into flats. And what you're going to start to realize, right, and this is something I talk about all the time in the Cowboys ebook at my website, it's like when you actually have these tackles, when the man, he's supposed to be blocking this guy, when he drops out into a zone, this guy immediately defaults to double teaming, but then you can just bring a guy off the other side. And it's the same thing over here, where, this guy actually did have someone to block, but it just creates kind of like this traffic jam in the middle, and then you're able to walk in free with your slot corner off the edge. You still have this flat guarded, you still have this flat guarded, and then this is the key. You can't switch players, you can't switch stick by using the right stick, because you're starting on a blitzing player, right? You can't switch stick when you're using a blitzer. So again, just press D-pad up. Now you're going to get switched onto this 3-rep hook defender, and then you're going to be able to come down just like this and take everything away over the middle of the field. It's very important because you have to take away the middle. If you don't user the middle with your user, right, the 3-rep hook, the middle is going to be wide open for them to attack, and even though you have great pressure off the right side, it's really not going to matter. So we're going to go with it again, where it's the same thing. The only adjustment, press Y underneath, and then press RB, right stick up to pass commit, boom, press D-pad up to switch, and now you're able to see how we're going to get that pressure. Sometimes that's what I'm talking about though when I say there's chipping. It's random here in this game where your guys will randomly chip, which is why you can't ever say that a blitz works every time. Look at this. This time he gets chipped up by the tight end. This didn't happen in the last play, which is why, again, it's even more important for you to have a good user and to be able to cover over the middle of the field for as long as possible, and really as long as you need. But you're still able to see when you have good defensive linemen, right, they kind of make up for the fact that, random chipping and blocking happens. But, that's kind of, what we're working with here. But let's say they block their running back, which what I will say about the block running back situation is that it doesn't give them the check down that they're probably looking for right out of the backfield when they're getting blitzed. They take that off the table. So it honestly makes it a little bit easier to play, pass defense, especially against these underneath passes. But again, boom, take the snap, D-pad up. Slot corner is able to come in free right there. And then the running back has to step up, which opens up room for us to get those extra one-on-ones out here and walk in the backfield. You're just able to see how we get our linebacker right here to shed this guard, while the running back already had to step up to block this slot corner that was going to come in free. So that just allows for him to just come in free, right after he sheds. Or not him, but yeah, this linebacker right here, for that easy sack. So we're out here to defend the flat, we're over here to defend the middle of the field, and so we're able to play lockdown defense from this really great blitz. Again, very easy to set up. Just shade your coverage underneath, pass commit, D-pad switch stick, guard over the middle, and you're going to see your slot corner coming free off the edge once you create the traffic jam in the middle. All right, so if you found this breakdown of the Cowboys defensive ebook helpful here in Madden 26, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe subscribe button. I break down Madden 26 tips and tricks just like this every single day to help you guys get better, and you don't want to miss out on any of the content that I have. But if you want my full Cowboys defensive ebook plus a strategy guide of all my tips to save on your phone during gameplay, go to the link down below in the pinned comment to join Madden University, where you can use code VOLT to get your first month for 20% off. The ebook is a full written breakdown to save on your phone and always reference during gameplay, along with all of my tips, so you never have to go surfing through this video or any other ones to find your ebook. I highly recommend you check it out at the link down below in the pinned comment, and let's jump right back into the video. The next thing that you're going to need to do on defense here from this Cowboys playbook is actually be able to stop corner routes. There's some of the most annoying routes and plays to deal with here in this game, and you need to be able to slow them down. Let me show you what I mean. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we are going to come right back into nickel double mug. We're going to change our package though to the 4 defensive end package. So 4 DNs right here. What this is going to do is going to get your 2 best defensive ends matched up against their guards, because you're putting your DNs at D tackle. So you really again have 4 DNs as the name entails. This is going to make your sheds way better, but obviously we're talking about stopping corner routes here, and so the best way that we're going to do this is utilizing the double Mabel coverage, right? We're going to put our flats on 25, our curl flats on 5, and then we're going to come into Tampa 2 is going to be our play. Because what I want you to pay attention to right here is now you see your light blue zones, your flats are dropping back to 25 yards. And so when they call, a corner out right here, you're just going to see how we're going to be dropping right to the spot to break the pass up and knock it away, and we actually somehow catch an interception right there. So you're going to notice how easy it's going to be simply for you to just stop corner outs, because you actually have your zones dropping to the right spot. If you were to use, a default flat zone, he would never be able to drop all the way back here. But being able to set your zone drops to be able to defend these corner outs is really game changing for you, and it's going to make it a whole lot easier, for you to stop those corner outs. But also what I want you to pay attention to is a flood concept, right? Where they have basically another man attacking that area, the underneath area, which you're giving up. You now notice how, since there's no one in the flat, we're easily able to hit that flat and pick up easy yards. So what you need to do is actually introduce another zone, right? Because essentially right now you have 2 zones trying to stop 3 receivers. Well, now if I just make it 3 zones trying to stop 3 receivers, we're actually going to be able to do that. So what you're going to see right here is we are going to have our curl flat right here on our slot corner. We're going to put, the flood concept on the field for them. And so now we take the snap, we have our guy sitting underneath to make that tackle if he's not soft. And then we actually have a guy dropping back over the top to really do a great job of making a play on that corner route. So again, boom, flat taken away, very easily come up, make that tackle, or break the pass up. Same thing on the other side of the field. We have a guy dropping back to defend that corner out, and so we're going to be able to lock it down very, very easily. But the whole point of us using this package is so that we can actually be able to defend, the underneath area right here. So what you're going to see is, or to defend everything and then get shed. So what you're going to notice is we're going to spread our defensive line. We're going to blitz our inside linebacker, because now we don't want them to be able to double team any of our defensive linemen. And so what you're going to notice is just like that right there. You're going to see when you call this, the more you call this, you're going to see just how fast your sheds are going to be. And so what you're going to notice right here is you're going to get a bunch of these swim moves and spin moves. The reason why is because these defensive ends who you put at D tackle have really high finesse move compared to the offensive guards that they're playing against. Guards are more, kind of power guys, awareness, right? They're more like those interior guys. Well, when you put a finesse guy against him, he's just going to use his finesse move and very often just be able to walk in that backfield just like that. So again, spread your defensive line, right? Set up the, pass defense to be able to stop the corner out like this, and then always, press RB, right stick up the pass commit, and you're going to notice again how they can call the same flood concept. We're going to easily be able to lock it down on the sideline, but then we're also going to be able to, do a great job of getting that really quick shed. These sheds are absolutely insane how fast they are. Again, the better your defensive linemen are, the faster they're going to be. But again, last time it was 63 getting destroyed. This time it's 74. Easy swim move, go sack the quarterback really before they have anywhere to go, while we're stopping all of their routes, and I'm doing a great job of using over the middle of the field. So really that's the best defense to stop corner routes, because you're going to be able to lock it down coverage-wise with your zone drops, and then you're going to get really quick sheds by using the 4 defensive end package. All right, before I jump to those final 2 plays here from the Cowboys defense, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. I'm the only one right now still breaking down Madden 26 tips and tricks for you guys every single day to help you guys finish the year off strong. So I highly recommend you go down below, hit that subscribe button. It's totally free, and you're not going to miss out on any of the content I drop. But let's jump to those final 2 defensive plays. Which next I want to break down the best way to contain mobile quarterbacks, because if you can't stop the quarterback rollout, which too many of you guys still struggle with, it's not going to matter what you do on defense. Let me show you how to stop those mobile quarterbacks. Alright, so we're going to come into nickel wide right here, and what you're just going to notice is what's going to happen is you have contains in the field, which is going to be great for you. Contains are pretty good, right? You're just going to notice how we're going to do a great job of containing Kyler Murray, not letting him roll out. So that's the great thing about Tampa to contain, is this play, since it has contain in its name, those guys are already going to be in contains. But the reality is, if you are to call other defense, because I mean you're calling it cover 2, right? So you can't always just sit in cover 2. And if you call some of these other defenses, right, you're going to notice how they do a horrible job of maintaining leverage and containing the quarterback, and they can just roll out every play like that. So what we need to do is we need to find a way to actually contain the quarterback every time while still doing a great job of getting pressure. And so what we're going to do is we are going to call the left Texas 2-man custom stunt. The reason why is because we still want to be able to contain the quarterback off of his handedness side. So, and what I mean by that is Kyler Murray's a right-handed quarterback, so we still want to contain him off the right side. We don't really need to worry about him rolling out to the left, because the reality is when the quarterback rolls out to the left and he's right-handed, he gets this really garbage 360 animation, which slows him down. So not a lot of players are going to try to do that. So what you need to do is just contain him off of this right side, like you're able to see right here, where, I mean, this Clowney's way slower than Kyler, probably, right? But he's still able to do a great job of containing him because he's in a contain. He's holding his contain. Contains are actually good in this game, and so if you put them on the field, you're going to be able to, stop these rollouts very, very easily. But the great thing is you're going to actually be able to get pressure on the quarterback, so it's going to be like they're not going to be able to roll out, but then the pocket's going to be collapsing really quickly for them. So what we're going to do is we are going to spread our defensive line. We are going to call the left Texas 2-man custom stunt. We're going to press RB and then right stick up to pass commit. And so really what this is going to do for us is it's going to, again, allow for us to contain the quarterback off of the right side and then get that really quick pressure, right through the A gap. So that's what we're going to do right here. Boom, take it. You're going to notice how we're going to do a great job of collapsing the pocket just like that. And again, it's just going to be really easy because all you have to do is cover. They're not going to be able to roll out, right? Because I just showed you on the last play where it's like he's never going to really get beat on this contain out here. He's also not going to shed, just so that y'all know. Like this guy, you're basically taking him out of the pass rush, and his only thing that he can do is contain, which is why I tell you guys, you don't just want to use quarterback contains every single play. It will drastically, worsen your pass rush, but it's like his only assignment, what we need him to do is to contain, because we're going to make sure we cover really well. We're going to make sure we still get really great pressure right through that A gap, just like you're able to see right there, where you do the swoop motion, you turn the center towards the right side, and then that's what allows for this man to come in free, completely clean off the edge, just like this for a sack. So really this gets the best of both worlds. You're stunting them to collapse the pocket, and then you're going to be able to contain them off of their handedness side, right, just like this, prevent them from rolling out, and then you're back over the middle of the field to lurk. So really mobile quarterbacks are going to have no answer against nickel wide, the left Texas 2-man custom stunt, because especially when they're in base protection, you're just going to be stunting them right through the middle, collapse the pocket while still containing them off the right side. All right, the last and most important thing I want to break down here with this Cowboys defense is actually the best red zone defense you need to be using, because if you let people score touchdowns in the red zone and you can't force them to kick field goals, your defense is going to be trash. So let me show you the best red zone defense to use right now. Alright, so there's two really important things that you have to be able to do when they drive the ball inside the red zone, specifically inside the 10-yard line. It's stopping the run and stopping RPOs, right? So first we're going to talk about stopping the run because that's where it starts. If they can just run the ball on you, they will, because passing is not easy in the red zone. It's not as easy as it is everywhere else in the field, so if they can just run all over you, they will. So what you need to do is you're going to come into Mike Blitz 0 here from nickel 33 Cub, right? And you're going to come take your user, the linebacker, who starts all the way back here, and you're going to drag him inside the butt of this defensive tackle like this, basically where you're standing right inside of him, all right? And what this does, it puts a flame icon over the head of your user for the offensive player. Now, you're not going to see this when you're playing. Like, if you look at your player, this is what it'll still look like. But if they look at their player, there's going to be this flame icon. And so if you just trust your preparation, trust your lab work, you know that you're going to be able to walk in the backfield, either your D tackle like that, or your user is going to walk in for your middle linebacker. So again, boom, last time it was the D tackle, this time it's my user. And so when it's your user, it's probably even better, because that means that you can just come in here and dive tackle this, or this running back before he has the opportunity to speed boost away. So that's what we're going to do right here, or get into a tackle battle with you. So again, we just dive tackle the running back right there, very easy. So it's like anytime they call an inside run, base, inside zone, draw, anything like that, you're just going to be able to stop this running back in the backfield every single time and prevent them from being able to run anywhere. So that's really where it starts. Excuse me, down in the red zone, is actually being able to stop the run. Once you master that technique, that run defense, you're going to see it where they're not going to be able to really run the ball, call those easy run plays, and pick up yards. But next, we're going to come into our RPO defense, because RPOs are going to be really important for you to be able to defend as well. Now, what you're going to notice right here is RPOs aren't that hard to stop. All you need to do is press Y, right stick underneath, right, to put hard flats on the field, all right? So you're going to put your hard flats on the field, and then you are going to make sure that you man up whoever their biggest passing threat is. Okay, so you're going to see right here where it's going to probably be this slot receiver, number 4. So I'm going to put our flats, then I'm going to man him up, and you still have to be ready to stop the run with your user defender, because it's an RPO. So what we're going to do is, yes, we're easily going to be able to defend this RPO pass, right? We have 2 defenders right there. We have a hard flat. We have him manned up. That's going to be locked down. But the reality also is that you have to be able to still stop the run, because you can set up great RPO pass defense, but if you just let them run the ball on you, right here we still played good run defense, but if a lane opens up and you're not there to make that tackle, right, it's not going to matter that you played good, pass defense to stop the RPO. So it's actually very similar to what I showed you as far as the automatic run defense, where now all we're going to do is just loop around to stop the run. So boom, we're going to find our gap, we're going to run through it, and we're going to be able to make that play. Now, a lot of the time, your whole team's going to be there to help you out, because the reality is a lot of these guys, these linemen, are going to be blocking for the pass, right? They're going to be pass blocking rather than run blocking. But if you just find your gap, have good stick, run through it, you're going to be able to stop these RPOs pretty easily. The only thing that's challenging with RPO defense is actually being able to get all of the actual RPO adjustments off at one time. So you're going to see right here where, boom, we get them off, and then I'm just able to run in free and make that play. So being able to stop the pass is really important. Obviously, hard flatting, manning up whoever you think's getting the ball in the RPO, and then really doing a great job of actually looping through and, stopping this run aspect of the RPO in the backfield. So really, like I said earlier, red zone defense, you have to force them to be one-dimensional, to only pass the ball down here in the red zone and not allow them to run the ball or call RPOs, and that's exactly how you're going to do it. But if you found that breakdown of the Cowboys defensive ebook helpful here in Madden 26, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. I break down Madden 26 tips and tricks just like this every single day to help you guys get better, and I'm the only one still putting out content on this game, so I'm really the best guy to watch and take information from. But if you want my full Cowboys defensive ebook with all the written breakdowns, videos, screenshots, you can save it on your phone and always reference it during gameplay, plus all my written breakdowns for the month of June and beyond, go to the link down below in the pinned comment to join Madden University, where you're going to get your first month for 20% off when you use code VOLT at checkout. It's really the best way to get better here on defense and on offense in Madden 26, and I highly recommend you check it out. But if you want to see the offensive ebook that pairs perfectly with this Cowboys defense, check out this video right here. I'll see you over there. Peace.